Today's class we'll be doing T cell development. As you can see, the topic is T cell development. But prior going into the main topic, let me just summarize because we have done certain parts of the immune system already. And we know that there are basic two components of immune system, the innate immunity and the adaptive immunity. And in my first class, when I dealt with the fourth semesters, I had discussed the various cell types and had said that the granulocytes and the phagocytes are a part of the innate immunity, and the complement proteins are also a part of the innate immunity. Concurrently, if we look into this granulocytes or the larger cells, the lymphocytes and the population is a part of the adaptive immunity. Of the lymphocytes, one arm of the lymphocyte, that is the B lymphocytes, is a part of the humoral immunity, and the T lymphocytes is basically or the proponent of the cell-mediated immunity, and B lymphocytes is furthermore specific in the generation of effector products known as antibodies, which we did. We just did a small detailing of those structures in our class on antigen and its properties. Now, if we move on to the next slide, you can see the areas where hematopoiesis occurs throughout our lifetime. So, at the initial, during just the development of the zygote, the hematopoiesis starts in the yolk sac. Then, in the mother's womb, the hematopoiesis is mainly carried out into the liver, and from there, the cells migrate into the spleen. As we start maturing, the baby is born, and we gradually move towards adulthood. The bone marrows are the main sites of, proliferation. And for B lymphocytes, maturation also, but for case of T lymphocytes, the maturation and schooling is done in the thymus. And as further we progress, as you can see, the maturation and proliferation continues into the B lymphocytes, but you can see the bone marrow of the axial skeleton is involved as we progress further into adulthood. But when we are in the teenage, you can see the areas, the distal long bones are the bones. Those bone marrows are the main site of maturation. Moving into my next slide, if you look, I have brought a part of the slide in this picture because I wanted to highlight one important cytokine, that is IL-7. This is a cytokine that actually determines whether the multipotent stem cell will go for a lymphoid progeny or a myeloid progeny. If the cell goes for a lymphoid progeny, so this cytokine is essential for the cell to move forward into a lymphoid progeny. From there on, the cells further divide into either a T cell progenitor or a B cell progenitor. The T cell progenitor lymphocytes then enter the thymus through high endothelial venules. These venules open in the junction of the cortex and medulla of the thymus, and the T cells actually, the progenitor cells, enter the thymus, and further maturation or the schooling of the T lymphocytes is done in the thymus. However, autoimmune regulation, that is tolerance portion of the T lymphocytes, that is the T lymphocytes learn to become tolerant to self-antigens, that part of the schooling to some extent is done in the thymus, but to a greater extent is done in the peripheral lymphatic system also. Now this is a picture of the thymus. If we look into this picture clearly distinguishes three regions of the thymus. This is the capsule. As you can see, it's written capsule. This is the cortex, and these are the medullary region. We'll be coming to the cells one after another. Basically, in the cortical region, you can see larger thymocytes or the lymphoblasts or the rapidly dividing lymphocytes. As we progress into the medulla, the thymocytes mature, and finally, when the medullary region, they are not only mature, they are differentiated and ready to move into the peripheral lymphatic system. If you look into the picture, just figure out that there are some medullary epithelial cells and there are some cortical epithelial cells. These epithelial cells either of the medullary region or of the cortical region, and accordingly the name comes, are one of the greatest teachers for the T lymphocytes, because it is they who express the antigens either via MHC class II receptor or via the MHC class I receptor, thereby further actually schooling the lymphocytes. Now, this is a very schematic representation that once the pre-T cells enter the thymus, how the receptors stage-wise, as you can see, we all know that the T cells have a prominent T cell receptor. We had studied that in our previous class. They have a prominent T cell receptor and they have a co-receptor either CD4 or CD8. So the actual process of the schooling is that when the final lymphocytes come out, the lymphocytes will either have a T cell receptor with an active CD4 co-receptor or a T cell receptor with an active CD8 co-receptor. This is one part of the schooling. The second part of the schooling is that these T cells will also be sensitized to the autoantigens of our body. They will be able to recognize the self-antigens of our body, and they will to some extent develop tolerance to the self-antigens. So this is the two basic schooling process. One schooling process is known as positive selection, which actually determines on a lymphocyte that whether the CD4 co-receptor stays or the CD8 co-receptor stays. So that is a part of positive selection. Coming to negative selection, what does negative selection says? It teaches the lymphocytes which are your self-antigens. And once you understand that these are your self-antigens, accordingly tolerate them. So tolerance is developed by the process of negative selection. Positive selection actually differentiates the T lymphocytes based on which receptor is activated. Either the CD4 receptor is activated or the CD8 receptor is activated. So this is basically a summary of how the T lymphocytes enter the thymus, goes through two levels of schooling, the main levels of schooling, and then comes out. In the process, they also develop the functional receptors. Now moving on to this picture. So if we think about the thymus, this picture clearly elucidates which are the primary lymphoid organs and which are the secondary lymphoid organs. The primary lymphoid organs are actually the site of maturation for B and T lymphocytes. For T lymphocytes, the thymus stays with us till the age of 13 or 14, and then it gradually atrophies. The bone marrow remains constant throughout our life, but as I said in the first picture of the second slide I showed, that not all part of the body's bone marrow remains functional. Pockets of bone marrows remain functional. The thymus and bone marrow falls under the primary lymphoid organs. There is one interesting note regarding bone marrow. The fact is that bone marrow is a primary lymphoid organ and it also gives a service as a secondary lymphoid organ because it also helps in B cell terminal differentiation. For second semester, bone marrow development is, and it's a B lymphocyte development is not a part of their syllabus. So I'm not getting into that, but bone marrow is also considered a secondary lymphoid organ because it not only helps in maturation of B lymphocyte, it also helps in proliferation and terminal differentiation of certain B lymphocytes. Thymus is a perfectly primary lymphoid organ where the maturation of T lymphocyte occurs. Once the T lymphocytes have matured, have been schooled via the positive and the negative selection, as I briefed in my earlier slide, they then move down or move forward to the lymphatics or the secondary lymphoid organ. The secondary lymphoid organ The spleen is a very vital lymphoid organ because it responds to all the blood-borne antigen. And the lymph nodes are found spread throughout the body, and the lymph nodes actually trap the antigen that are circulating in the lymph. These antigens may enter through the skin or through the mucosal surfaces. There are certain particularly specialized lymphoid structures found in the neck region, in the gut region. So these also fall under the secondary lymphoid organs, where the antigens enter via the mucosal surface. So this is a briefing about the primary and the secondary lymphoid organ. Since we are moving on to proceeding for T-cell developmental pathway, so we will now be concentrating on thymus. So this is stages in T lymphocyte development and migration, as you can see. So in the early stages, the precursor progenitor T lymphocytes migrate into the thymus. And once the schooling or the maturation or the positive negative selection has been completed and the T lymphocytes have been committed to their MHC1 restricted pathway or MHC2 restricted pathway, the T lymphocytes then come out of the thymus and then move to the various other secondary lymphoid organs. So this is a histological representation of thymus. If you look into the thymus can be broadly divided into a cortical region and a medullary region. Now let's concentrate into the cortical region. In the cortical region, in the subcapsular zone, that is this region, we are seeing some definite cells which are known as nurse cells. These nurse cells are capable of secreting interleukin-7. So now you can relate the secretion of interleukin-7 to the slide which I had showed earlier, that is the commitment of the lymphoid progeny. So these cells are capable of secreting IL-7, and as a result, the entering lymphocytes, the lymphocytes that come from the bone marrow and enter the thymocytes, they enter through the high endothelial venules at the cortico-medullary junction of the thymic lobules. These progenitor cells are formed in the fetal liver and bone marrow. And from there, they migrate into the thymus through the high endothelial venules in the cortical medullary junction. So the venules actually open here. These migrating lymphocytes are CD44 positive. That is, they have the CD44 receptor expression at that time. The moment they come into the thymus in this region, they migrate to the subcapsular region. The moment they migrate to the subcapsular region, they come in presence of the nurse cells which start secreting the interleukin-7. As a result of the presence of the cytokine interleukin-7, the CD44 receptor of the progenitor lymphocytes are down-regulated. This is important because when the initial lymphocyte progenitor cells enter through the blood venules here, they are CD44 positive. That is, they have not been yet committed to the T cell lineage or the B cell lineage. At that point, if a CD44 cell is rescued and put into a bone marrow microenvironment, it can develop into a B lymphocyte lineage. So when a progenitor lymphocyte is entering here with a CD44 receptor positive, we have to assume that its lineage is not committed yet. The CD44 positive cell migrates from here to this region where their nurse cells are present. In the presence of the nurse cells which now actively secrete interleukin-7, the CD44 receptors are down-regulated and the T lymphocyte lineage commitment starts. So as I said, that in presence of the IL-7 produced from the nerve cells, the CD44 cells are down-regulated. Now let's look into two other kinds of cells which play a very important role in case of T cell maturation. So as you can see in the subcapsular region, we are having these nerve cells. Now look into this category of cells, the cortical thymic epithelial cells. So these big dendritic cells, as you can see, are the epithelial cells. This is the high endothelial venules. Can you see the high endothelial venules? So from these venules, actually the progenitor cells enters and migrate to the subcapsular region. Now these are the big dendritic cells found in the cortical region. These are the cortical epithelial cells, and these are certain dendritic cells found in the medullary region. These are the medullary epithelial cells. Apart from that, in the medullary region, if you look, there is a particular cell called Hassel's corpuscle, the exact function of which in the T cell development is not yet known. Another important thing to be noted is that in the medullary region, these epithelial cells produce transcription factors known as autoimmune regulator, AIRE. So as I said previously, where I was briefing, that a negative selection occurs where the T lymphocyte is cooled. The T lymphocyte is taught which is a self-antigen and which is not a self-antigen. Now, these medullary cells are capable of producing these transcription factors, as a result of which these medullary cells can exhibit almost 90% of the self-antigens to the T lymphocytes because of the presence of these transcriptional factors. So they can express almost 90% of the self-antigens of different tissues. They express the antigens of all variety of tissues available in our body, or the self-antigen tissues available in our body to the T lymphocytes. I said 90%. There is always a 10% gap because it's possible that some self-antigens might be missed. That is done in peripheral tolerance. So in the process of negative selection, this medullary cells actually exhibits the self-antigens and develops the central tolerance of the T lymphocytes. So these are the basic three varieties of cells. If we now move on to the stages through which a thymocyte passes. Now in the first phase, what happens? It expresses CD44, CD25, and it is negative for CD4 minus and CD8 minus. Since the picture of Kubi is a more simplified version, I am enlarging the picture of Kubi and expressing via that. So let's restrict ourselves here. So this is the hematopoietic stem cells, comes through the blood, migrates through the high endothelial venules into the cortical medullary junction. From there, the precursor cells migrate into the subcapsular region where they are still CD44 plus, as I said. In the presence of the nerve cells, when the nerve cells have started secreting IL-7 acutely, the CD44 is down-regulated. The moment the CD44 is down-regulated, the second phase of thymocyte schooling starts. So the moment the CD45 is down-regulated, we now consider that we now put a nomenclature for the T lymphocyte. We now assume that the T lymphocyte is down-regulated for its two standard famous co-receptors, the CD4 and the CD8. So that is the second stage of thymocyte development. That is, the CD44 is down-regulated. They have now committed themselves to the T lymphocyte lineage, and both the famous co-receptors CD4 and CD8 are down-regulated. But interestingly, they express one famous receptor, the CD25, which is a particular important receptor part for the interleukin 2. CD25 plus is interleukin 2 receptor. So this is the first category of cell, the double negative 1 cell. In the double negative 1 cell, again repeating, CD44 is down-regulated, CD25 is up-regulated, CD4, CD8 is down-regulated. However, another thing to be noted is that the CD3 molecules of the T cell receptor have not yet been upregulated, and the signal transduction pathway that is operating within the T cell is the Notch1 signaling pathway. This is for noting. It is the Notch1 signaling pathway that is now operative within the T lymphocyte. And the T lymphocyte gradually move towards the double negative 2 stage. As you can see in the double negative 2 stage, the TCR beta chain. You have already, fourth semester, you have already done the class of T cell receptors. The T receptor beta chain is also upregulated. As we move further down, a subset of T cells which do not recognize antigen in complex with MHC, they diverge out. This is the alpha beta T cells. Then, so that diverges out, the double negative 2 then moves to the double negative 3 stage. The beta chain is completed, and then finally the TCR alpha chain is completed. So almost we have the TCR beta chain and the TCR alpha chain is completed. Now suddenly the thymocytes move into the next stage, that is the stage 2 thymocytes. Till now it was the stage 1 thymocytes. Stage 1 thymocytes had 2 phases. Repeating, in one phase it was CD4 positive, and in the second phase, in all these double negative stages from D11 to D14, it was the second phase of stage 1 thymocytes. The moment the thymocytes come out from the double negative stage and move to this double positive cell, they now become the stage 2 thymocytes. The stage 2 thymocytes are double positive. As you can see, they have expressed both the CD4 and the CD8 co-receptors. Interestingly, they have also expressed both the chains of the T cell receptors at low density and are now associated with the CD3 antigen receptor complex. So the stage 2 thymocytes are now matured. They have the CD4, CD8 receptors. They have both the alpha beta TCR chains at low density, and they also are associated with the CD3 antigen receptor. Mind it, they are negative for CD44 receptor. They are negative for CD25 receptor. So now these lymphocytes have migrated through the cortex into the deeper region of the cortex, where these double positive cells will now go for 2 kinds of schooling. First, a positive selection and then a negative selection.